be talking about the Stratum connectors. So if you haven't heard or seen this, these are basically fairly new products that we've featured with some of the latest releases. And so today we'll be talking about what those connectors do. There's the benefits of using Excel versus the Power BI connectors. Which one would you use in certain situations? But we'll be talking mostly about the Excel and the Power BI add-ins that you can use with Stratum today. And then we'll go through a demo of that. Part of the data hub, again, this is something that it basically encapsulates the Stratum application here in a visual. And as you can see, we've got the access hubs there on the right-hand side, lower right quadrant there, and which highlights the ability to use Excel or the Power BI connector. So it's, would be part of the access hub licensing. So you would need to be licensed for that in order to get access to that. What's also part of that hub is email distribution, forecasting tools. So certainly, there's quite a bit to the access hub to the Stratum, which basically taps into the Stratum data hub. So ways of getting data out of Stratum, access hub. We know that lots of analysts out there use Excel today. Very common application used by many analysts out there. Obviously, it provides many ad hoc calculations and computations for businesses. Nice graphs, nice charts. So certainly, obviously, this is something that we feel that businesses will just continue to use. Drawbacks of using Excel, awkward collaboration. I know that they're kind of working on that piece with 365. It's not free, so certainly Excel needs to be licensed. Whereas with Power BI, you have the ability to go in and it's a cloud-based tool. It's designed for collaboration. So versus Excel, this is something that you might want to use for those pieces. It handles volumes of data quite nicely. Has some powerful compression algorithms. Excel's still kind of better for analysis at detail levels, we feel. Power BI is great for summarizing large volumes of data. We also have the new go-to Stratum visual that makes drilling to detailed views easier. Power BI is perfect for dashboarding, alerts, and KPIs. It has very nice visuals. It's very aesthetically pleasing. So you'll be able to build some things that I think you'll be proud of here. And then you can push those up to the cloud depending on the versions of Power BI that you license. Drawbacks of Power BI, if it's not great for standard reporting like tabular style reports. There's a steeper learning curve for new users. It's something that you just don't pick up and use immediately, although it's not that difficult. It is very powerful though, and there's a full query engine behind it, Power Query by Microsoft. You've also got a lack of powerful functions versus Excel. So Excel, again, is something that we feel that many users will use in the business environment versus for that purpose in terms of, number crunching. Excel probably is a better tool to use for that. And collaboration, it could be limited based on sharing outside of the enterprise. So with Power BI, typically we see that Power BI is licensed within the enterprise, and then obviously users within the enterprise can access those reports, but providing that to the outside can be difficult. And then you might experience some issues with larger sets of data, and that's what Stratum is for. We feel that Stratum is architected in such a manner that you should not experience that. There's other ways that we can help you get around some of those those highly populated views that you might use with these tools. So again, these are the different questions you might ask yourself in terms of Power BI versus Excel. high level versus detailed analytics. You might use both, of course. I mean, you have access to both, but just from a user perspective, these are things that you want to go through. Is collaboration something that I'm looking for? How much data are we talking about? Do you have cost covered here for these tools? Advanced visualizations or beautiful ones, some things to talk about here when you're trying to create a dashboard or a series of reports in Excel using these connectors. Version 7.3 is what you would need to take advantage of the connectors. Although it's not the latest release that we have. 7.4 is now available, but 7.3 is you would need to be to at least 7.3 to take advantage of some of these connectors. If we were to go in and take a look at how they work, we can go into Power BI. Here's my Power BI desktop. So if you're not familiar with Power BI, it's basically a place where you can design graphical, more graphical pleasing reports or dashboards. Here I just want to get rid of some of these props. Here I've got a dashboard that I built with some of the views that I'm tapping into within Stratum. Here over to the far right, I can see that I've got just 2 views that I'm using to create all these visuals. One dashboard gives me the view and the data in more of a trend style fashion. As you can see, we've got the time dimensions here available. And then we've got a comparative sales view that we're using for some of the other graphs that we've got within our dashboard. And they talk to each other because some of the dimensions are common. If I were to go out and tap into and get more data from Stratum, I can go in and click on the Get Data tab. I can then click on More, where I can then gain access to all the different add-ins that I have within my Power BI desktop. And if I go down here to the other area, I can see that there's my Sylvan Stratum Views add-in. So if I connect to that, it'll then allow me to connect to my Stratum instance. And here I can go in and get the URL to my Stratum instance. I just need the URL to plug that into my connector. And then once I make that connection, it will then talk to my URL there and make the necessary connection for the views. I can go ahead and select my views. Hello. So now it's making that connection, and we'll present a list of views here that I can choose from. So it presents all the views in their own little separate folder. And obviously I've got a lot of views in my environment, and you might too. So we have a search function up here if you want to put in a keyword of some of the views that you've created for this, then you can go ahead and find that real quick. Highlight the view that you want to select for your report. Here, as you can see, it shows me all the different fields within that particular view that I can then bring into my desktop. And that's it. I would just load that in. It would then become available as a data set here, in which then I can use to build my graphs and my charts. So if I wanted to build a quick pie chart using my Power BI area here, I can then make a little room here to the right, click on my pie chart. It'll then select that area and put in the pie chart. And then, once I have that highlighted, I can then make my selections here for my pie chart. If I wanted to do like a year-to-date sales units, I can do it by division. That's a real quick way to build one. Maybe product brand. You'll decide what you'll want to choose for your pie chart. And then obviously, pick the appropriate fields within that particular view that you want to select for that particular graph. You can keep it really simple, obviously, as you can see. So that's how you would build that out. And then, now I've got something that I've just added that's new. Power BI, if I highlight a specific Patrick Hurley there, if I highlight his area within that particular chart, this is a heat map. We can see that he's one of the more voluminous reps out there for sales. We can see up here that everything is kind of matched to his numbers. If I highlight over here, Janice, her numbers change. She's doing a little bit less, obviously. We can see Farm Fresh and First Choice as some of the top brands for Janice and for Patrick, for that matter. So that's obviously the bread and butter of the enterprise here, it seems. Nicole here, she's basically selling. We can see Nicole is having some challenges with this year versus last. So you can glean some things, obviously, from these different areas, and we can see that how these different reps are performing. If I then want to drill to detail, as you can see, we provide a little button that you can place anywhere. Essentially, I can move this down or around wherever I want to place that within my report. But if I highlight Patrick here and I click on that button, maybe I want more information, for Patrick. Maybe I want to be able to drill down and be able to get more tabular style information for that particular rep. So now it's actually drilling to the view, applying that filter for Patrick. We can see it's basically now just showing me Patrick's numbers. And we can see that, he's doing incredible. Wow. Patrick's blowing it out of the water. He's probably a new rep for that matter. And maybe there's some history that needs to be realigned to his history, but you can see he's just knocking it out. Those numbers last year, obviously he's way smaller than what he's doing this year. So good job to Patrick. And of course, I can then see who his customers are, within the grocery division. Obviously he's selling into 2 customers. It looks like he only just sells through the grocery retail channel. So I'm getting a lot more detail about Patrick, right? By being able to drill to that detail. I get some information here, but again, Power BI is only going to tell you so much of the story. For Nicole here, let's see what her story is. We can see that she's down this year versus last. So if I drill to detail for her, let's see what her numbers look like. And if you can keep your connections open. Oh yeah, so we can see that certainly her business is down. She is selling through the same channel, and then we can see what her accounts are doing. I just dragged and dropped customer sold to there. And sorry about that. So basically, Wilder Foods, we can see that she's selling into that. I guess Brian doesn't know I'm in a meeting. So here we've got Wilder Foods, grocery division. Her business is down. There's a gleam of hope there, but we can see that with one account that she's selling into last year that she's not selling in. And she's got some serious issues here that we need to address for Nicole. But without being able to drill into that detail, I can only see so much of that. I don't see her accounts. Again, I don't have access to that type of detail within my Power BI. So, being able to drill to detail is a nice touch there for some of these reports. If I switch over to my Excel connector, I can see that, hold on. I can see that I can use Excel in the same fashion. So here I've got an Excel spreadsheet, and I can then tap in the same fashion. I could tap in and get data from Stratum. So here I'm tapping into my URL that I've already input, and then I can search for the same view, right? So, I should have some of the same views, and here they are. So, I've been able to bring that in, and bring that in. So I can also bring in any other views to any other tab of my report. And once you have the data in your report, then obviously you can build pivot tables, which is what I have over here. Based on that data, we've got graphics that are similar to Power BI, not quite as glamorous, but they've done a good job of upgrading their graphs. If I want to add a new report or another tab, I can bring in another sheet. Maybe bring in a different view and highlight and select that particular view and bring that data in as well. So now I've got two different views that I've got my data for. Man, I keep clicking the wrong things. All right, so again, Excel add-in, you're able to use Excel as the front end in this case, or Power BI. Two obviously way different tools. That's kind of why I talked about the differences and why you would want to use those. And I think they're pretty blatant in terms of which one you would use versus the other. How is the Stratum connector added to Power BI? There's an install, Rick, to that. So you would actually get a setup, and there's a file that you would need, a setup file that we can provide for you. Let us know. Talk to me. Send me an email. We can talk a little bit more about that and getting you access to that. But yeah, there's a small little installation process that you'd go through for that. In Excel, yep, yes, sir. You're very welcome. Excel actually is accessed through the Microsoft. You can get to the store here within Microsoft. So if I wanted to go in and add it here, I think it's under data. And it's somewhere here. Yeah, and you can add it in directly through the interface, through add-ins and whatnot. Oh gosh, I haven't done it in a while, obviously. There we go. So it's under the insert menu, and you can see get add-ins there. So once you click on that, it takes you to the Microsoft Store. I could search on Sylvan, and there's the Excel connector. I wish actually that was available within Power BI the way it is in Excel. It's not, so you'll need that piece, and we can provide it to you on our customer net site, which is basically a site that you can go to download software. Here's another example of getting data. I've got a view out there that looks like this. I've got, as you can see, the dates associated to the time dimension, the rep, broker, the customer sold to, product category, and a forecast. It could be last year's sales, and I can then massage that to another tab and put it in more of a horizontal fashion, right? And then make some necessary adjustments to my next year's forecast, right? And there's once you make your necessary adjustments and you're ready to upload everything back up to Stratum, this actually has an upload data to Stratum feature. So you can actually say, all right, let's go ahead and upload. Now that we made the adjustments to the forecast, we can go ahead and upload that to our interface. And it would take you into a designer where I can then map that to my the measure that I want to, my forecast measure, my dimensions that I want to save it to. It looks like I had a little interruption there for some reason. I'll have to look into that. But working, getting data, I don't have to go directly from the interface. I can just open up Excel, grab data, dump it down into my spreadsheets, and I'm, off and running, doing whatever I need to do within Excel. And this will stay, once you save this, it remembers the connection. It will actually, there's a feature that you can turn on to refresh, the data when you open up the file. There's a little options. Gosh, I can't connect to anything now. There must be a VPN issue. Okay, well, nevertheless, I guess that's brings us to the end of the session. So if you have any questions or if you want to talk more about this, this is how to reach me. You can contact me directly. My email obviously is right there, and you can call me if you want. Another thing, here's the CustomerNet URL that I was talking about, customernet.sylvan.com. That is a URL you can go to download the software that you need for the Power BI connector. And so if you don't have access to that, let me know and I can give you access to it, and then we can get you the software that you need.